How's it going, everyone? This is George here, and I have a hat on backwards today because that's how Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, and Randall wear their hats in the Clerks movies and Askew Universe movies. So I want to be in character for this review. But anyways, I just got back last night from watching Clerks 3. Well, actually, I got back last night, but I saw Clerks 3 last night anyways, and this is my review for this surprisingly emotional Universe film. I was not expecting it to be as emotional as it was, but we'll get into that later. So, Clerks 3 is the 2022 Universe film. This is the sequel to Clerks, Clerks 2, and the Jay and Silent Bob movies. And in this film, Randall, once again played by Jeff Anderson, has a heart attack, and he realizes that he's on borrowed time and he hasn't really done much with his life other than working at the Quick Stop. So he decides he's going to make a movie about working at the Quick Stop, and he gets Dante, once again played by Brian O'Halloran, to help him, as well as Elias, once again played by Trevor Fearman, Jay and Silent Bob, once again played by Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. And basically, we see these characters at this kind of stage of their life, not their age, and they're going through a lot. Dante's got his own personal arc that he's going through. Randall's going through his arc of surviving the heart attack and wanting to make this movie. So going into Clerks 3, I will admit I was excited but also nervous. I was excited because I love the first two Clerks movies. I enjoy Kevin Smith's Askew Universe movies, but at the same time, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, while I didn't think it was bad, it was also a little disappointing. It wasn't as good and memorable as the other films in the Askew Universe. So I was hoping that at least, like, okay, since he's at his best with the Clerks characters, maybe we'll get something better in this film. And we got something a lot better. Kevin Smith goes back to his original roots of the Askew Universe and makes probably his best film in over a decade. This was a very good movie, a movie that was very hilarious, but as I said before, very emotional. The humor reminded me much more similar to the first Clerks film. It's more tame than Clerks 2, because we all know what happened in Clerks 2. Um, just a minor spoiler for anyone who never saw Clerks 2, the donkey scene from in movies. But it definitely feels like Tanner, but it also feels like it's going back to taking risks with some of that taboo humor that felt like Jane Silent Bob reboot stepped away from. The characters are memorable and hilarious as always. Brian O'Halloran as Dante and Jeff Anderson as Randall. To me, they are at their best as these characters in this movie. They're no longer in their 20s and 30s, they're in their late 40s, although the actors are in their early 50s. But they're basically entering a new stage of life, and they're both going through different stuff right now. And you understand why they're feeling the ways that they are feeling in this film. And so you understand like each character's point of view about why Randall wants to make this movie, why Dante has some concerns. Jay and Silent Bob themselves, Jason Mewes, I think this is one of his better performances as Jay. Kevin Smith as Silent Bob. He actually has much more lines of dialogue in this film, a few more lines of dialogue than he did in the previous films. And they played off very well. And Trevor Fearman as Elias is hilarious as always. He's got some of that awkward, quirky humor. And he kind of goes through an identity crisis in this film. This is kind of a minor spoiler. I'm trying to avoid spoilers because I know this film is only going to be out until September 18th. And so for a lot of people they're not going to get a chance to watch this film until it comes out on VOD and home media. But basically with Elias, like he starts out as the born again Christian that he was in Clerks 2, but then he basically like changes his look, goes very gothic for the rest of the film. I mean, we kind of seen that in the trailer, so it's really not a minor spoiler. But yeah, like I just want to give a heads up for anyone that may not have seen the trailer. Uh, Rosario Dawson returns as Becky, but the way they utilize the character Becky is not the way you think going into this film. At first, I was pretty uncertain about how they were going to handle this, but as the film progressed, the way her character was handled, while I didn't love it, at the same time, it adds more to Dante's character arc and explains what Dante is specifically going through in this film. It's also nice to see Marilyn Gigliotti. Sorry if I mispronounced that last name again. As Veronica, she's still great as this character. Got some famous cameos in this film as well, including another actor that's been in plenty of Kevin Smith films, Ben Affleck. And again, this is a passion project for Kevin Smith because it's touching upon two things: making his first film ever, Clerks, and also his near fatal heart attack from 2018 helped inspire this film. So the heart attack that Kevin Smith went through in real life, he basically like gave that to Randall in this film. And so you're seeing them also revisit the Clerks films, not just the first film, but even some moments from the second film, and you're seeing the characters themselves filming memorable, funny scenes from the first Clerks film, and it's fan service done right. And just hearing these characters remember some of the bizarre antics that they went through, it's fun, it's great to hear and see. And they're still doing some of this bizarre stuff. Like they're still playing hockey on the roof of the Quick Stop even in their late 40s. It's crazy. They're still doing a lot of this bizarre stuff. They're still dealing with some of these bizarre customers all these years later. And the fact that this also shows that these characters are mortal. We enjoy these characters a lot. For some people who have been following this franchise since 1994 when it first started, they've been following it for 28 years or so. And these characters, they started off being in their 20s and now, like as I said, they're in their late 40s, and so like we're starting to realize that these characters are mortal, and I think it connects to the viewing audience, and I think that connects to them no matter what age. I think it connects more so to the older audience, the people that are in their 40s to early 50s that have been following this franchise for several years now. But even like someone like me that's in their mid 20s, like that realization could happen at any moment of our lives. It can happen, a few years down the road for me. It can happen, maybe a decade or so. And, for some people, it can happen even before they're 25 or 26. So the lessons that this film teaches us and shows us, even if it's done in a hilarious way, still resonates and feels realistic in a sense. And the third act is where the emotions really hit. To me, this is probably the most emotional Universe film done so far. Like, even more emotional than Chasing Amy. Like, going into this film, I felt like Chasing Amy was probably the most emotional film of these Universe movies. But this film, and even in the first two acts, like, you did have a few emotional moments, but it really hits hard in that third act. And for the die-hard fans, for people who have loved these characters, including myself, it was emotional, and I didn't expect Clerks 3 to be my most emotional theater experience of 2022 so far. I mean, yeah, we've got movies that are better than this film that have come out this year. Movies like The Batman and Top Gun Maverick. And yeah, Top Gun Maverick did have that emotional scene with Iceman, but the ending and third act of Clerks 3 really hit hard. And there were even some people that were crying in the theater. I'm not gonna lie. I'm saying that without spoiling it, but overall, this is a fan service film done right. If you're a fan of the first two Clerks film, I think you're gonna love this film. Um, as I've said with all of Kevin Smith's other films that I've reviewed, it's not gonna be a movie that's for everyone because not everyone's gonna be used to Kevin Smith's style of humor. But overall, I had a great time with this film, and because it's a Phantom event thing, like after the film they were showing the behind the scenes work, and it's great that they were able to film this entire movie in New Jersey, and to see Kevin Smith go back to the Quick Stop where he even worked at before he even worked on Clerks, and seeing all these like people that weren't even actors like joining the set of Clerks 3, and hearing how like much it meant to Kevin Smith and how much it meant to the actors, and it like hit harder afterwards. Clerks 3 was a great movie in my opinion. Not just a very good movie, a great movie. I know some people may not feel that way, but as a fan of the first two films, I was very much satisfied. This is probably not my favorite trilogy, but probably one of my top 10 favorite trilogies. And I'm going to give Clerks 3 an A minus. This was fan service done right. The characters are still awesome. Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson gave their best performances as these characters. The humor still works, and the emotions and realizations of this film really hit hard. And I highly recommend you go check this film out. It's playing until September 18th, so try to look to see if there's a Phantom event near you if you want to check out Clerks 3. It's worth it. I was worried it wasn't going to be, but it was way worth it. I'm glad I got to see this film because this was also the first Universe film that I got to see on the big screen. And if this is the end of the Universe, I think it ended on a great note. I know I said that about Clerks 2, but I feel like this is also a great way to end it. A much better way to end it than Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I know Kevin Smith has like talked about doing a sequel to Mallrats, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel that realistic. But then again, for many years, Clerks 3 didn't seem realistic. So we'll see. But if this is the official ending of the View Askew universe, I think this was a great way to end it. So, what are your thoughts on Clerks 3 if you saw it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you planning on seeing Clerks 3 in theaters? Personally, I think if you're a Kevin Smith fan, it's worth seeing in theaters. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share us with someone that loves the Kevin Smith films. And I'll also put a link in the description of my other Kevin Smith reviews, so go check them out. I still have to review Dogma. Once I find Dogma, I will watch it and review it on this channel, even if it's several months down the road. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, take care, everyone.